Good morning, Grace-Toti and more distant watchers. One day, a father went to visit his son's preschool. It was a day when dads could come and visit. But when he got there, he was shocked to discover that only a handful of fathers had come to be with their children. Later on that morning, all the children were sitting on the floor in a circle. The teacher asked the children to tell the group something about their fathers, something that was special. One little boy said, "Well, my daddy is a lawyer. He makes lots of money and we live in a big house." Another child said, "My father is very smart. He teaches at a university and a lot of important people know him." Finally, it was time for this father's son to say something special about his dad. The little boy looked up at his father, and then he looked around at a circle of friends, and then he just smiled and proudly said, My dad is here." Time, such a fascinating thing. Time is both friend and foe. Time ticks by in a steady procession, unconcerned by the lives of those it dominates. The future has a way of arriving unannounced, and if we don't prepare for it, it will leave us with a lot of wasted yesterdays. We are especially cognizant of time when we have too little of it, or too much of it, although the latter is rarely a part of our burdens until maybe our aged years. As time passes by, we dutifully try to squeeze our deeds into its pockets. We know that once a pocket passes, it will never pass by again. Some people are obsessed with packing pockets. That's what their life is all about. They feel guilty. Sometimes other people make them feel guilty when they don't place something in every pocket. They feel great self-worth in busyness, and they hope others will notice the number of pockets they packed that day. Other people are willing to let some of time's pockets pass by empty so that they can work on something of greater significance to place in a later pocket. They resist the tyranny of the empty pocket. These people focus on product rather than process. What they place in a pocket is the result of their passion, their priorities, their purpose, and some thoughtful precision. On the floor beside them are remnants of the good things they might have also placed in the pockets of time. But they chose to use the opportunity of passing pockets to create something truly great, like coming to a dad's day at your son's preschool. There's always a tension between the demands of linear time, what the ancient Greeks called chronos, and the sacredness of punctiliar time, what the ancient Greeks called kairos. Chronos, from which we get chronology or chronological, is the sequential time that marches steadily onward and requires speed from us so it won't be wasted. Kairos time is focusing on the moment rather than the moments. Got that? Kairos, irritated that it cannot stop Chronos, just ignores it, emptying out minutes on either side, what we call taking time or making time, so that an opportune moment can be savored. Chronos is out of our control and is represented by watches, clocks, calendars, and agendas. Kairos can pass by, and that is a very sad thing, but it can also be captured by us, and Kairos is represented by windows, doors, or a fork in the road. Geometrically, Chronos is a line. Kairos is a point on a line. Chronos is the question, will we have the time to finish this before our guests arrived? Or the statement, I haven't seen you for a long time. Time, chronology. Kairos is the statement, it's time for dinner. Or, I don't want this holiday time to end. Or, wow, wouldn't this be a good time for Jesus to return? A point in time. You might be surprised to hear that chronos, the word for sequential time, is used 54 times in the New Testament. Kairos, opportune time, is used 86 times. So these words are significant elements in your theology of life. We're twice told by the Apostle Paul to redeem the time, as the King James Version said it best. Ephesians 5 verses 15 and 16 says, "Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil." In the twin epistle to Ephesians, which is the book of Colossians, Paul writes in chapter 4, verse 5, "Walk in wisdom toward outsiders, making the best use of the time." The single Greek word for make the best use of means to recover from the power of another by paying a price. That's a profound definition when it comes to the concept of time. And that's where we get this idea of redeeming the time. The concept here is not a mere snatch up your opportunities or carpe diem, seize the day. You must often pay a price to have kairos moments. You must recover your time from the power of others, and normally there is a price to pay. Sometimes it is breaking from work to take a son's phone call. Sometimes it's not watching TV so that you can play a game together, or chat over a jigsaw puzzle, or talk with your little girl when there's an open window just before bedtime. What are you willing to sacrifice for these kairos moments? Sometimes it's putting the kids with friends to walk quietly on the beach with your spouse. Sometimes it's not going fishing so that you can attend a Bible study. Sometimes it's not going to a Bible study so that you can have a long talk with an upset teenager in some teachable moments. Now, here is a key. The better you manage your chronos, the more you can have time for kairos. Because kairos needs some empty space on both ends to make it meaningful. For instance, you have an 8-hour workday and let's say 6 hours of solid work to get done. But because you fritter away your time with idle chat, texting friends, checking the news and weather apps, visiting the snack room, running 3 errands instead of 1 because you planned poorly, you end up spending 9.5 hours at work and you have less special time with family. Or you're frazzled when you do come home and your family just kind of gives up on kairos moments. Those who are undisciplined in time management are a busy spiral of ash and sparks, but are not getting done what is meaningful. The more you discipline your time, including the ability to say no to things, the more time you will have for kairos moments. Now be careful. Many introverts think kairos moments are for myself, my bath, my book, my computer game, my hobby. No, it's not about you. Paul was indicating that these Christians in Ephesus and Colossae weren't prioritizing their time to do the better things in life in God's eyes. We miss God's kairos moments due to busyness mostly, but also selfishness, laziness, or misplaced priorities. As the days grow more evil, or there's massive change happening, or people are suffering, like with this coronavirus pandemic, those are kairos moments for the gospel. People are willing to talk, and we need to take those opportunities. I chatted with a cardiologist years ago. He was a missionary kid who studied under Christian Barnard here in South Africa. For years, he was a teacher in a Brethren church leading believers to a deeper faith. But as time went on, he couldn't answer the claims of science, and he left the church, and for years became a skeptic. Of course, a skeptic's thinking questions everything and holds on to virtually nothing. Life lacks any real meaning or value or purpose over time, and that kept gnawing at him. But when his old missionary mom got sick and was on her deathbed, he came to her side in a hurry and brought joy to the closing days of her life by saying, "Mom, I'm back, and I've got a lot of lost time to make up for." A lot of lost time, lost kairos. He was saying, I hereby commit myself to buy up any new kairos moments to make up for those that I lost over the years. How about you? Do you manage your chronos time wisely? And how are you doing with your kairos moments, your opportune moments? People tend to be either task-oriented or people-oriented. Task-oriented usually do better on the chronos, time management, but are poor on kairos moments with people. People-oriented people are great with kairos, but their life can fall to pieces because managing chronos seems impossible, and they end up with double commitments. You've got to find a balance. How are you spending this weekend? Carried along with the chronos? Or on the lookout for meaningful interactions with people at the opportune time? Jesus is coming soon. We need to count the days, and we need to make the days count. Take care and be a blessing to the Lord today.